Whether you're looking for a Chevy car, truck, or SUV, go see my friends at Apple Chevy in Tinley Park. With over 500 new and used vehicles in stock, they have what you're looking for, and at the lowest price possible. Go to applechevy.com. Rock Show with Anna DeVlogis. Richard Roeper is here. Coming up, he's going to be doing some reviewing for our entertainment to tell us what's coming up in this weekend. And we got Papillon, and we got The Wife. That's Glen Close. Is she a better wife than she was a girlfriend?
Oh, jeez.
That's
it does come to mind.
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
cast as a wife.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then there's also Justine Naked with Ethan Hawke, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of
a lot of stuff.
Interesting looking kind of a deal right
Melissa
there.
McCarthy's in that? No, she's in the
Happytime
Murders.
Happytime Murders. A lot of movies coming out this week.
Okay, good.
Are we reviewing Happytime Murders?
We could do some today and some tomorrow too. We got plenty of time.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's split it up.
Because that's the Happytime Murders. That's the
puppet, the R-rated puppet movie.
Yeah, I saw the as you know, I only like to look at the previews,
Christian
trailer
and the trailer, and I'm not gonna lie to you. That was one of the worst things I have ever seen in a trailer, like in a movie theater. It was like a Springtime for Hitler moment.
Oh my gosh!
Where
really?
Everybody in the theater, their jaws dropped open, like they made a movie like that.
Yeah, Jim Henson's son directs this movie.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
So they're very Muppet-like creatures.
Yes, they do. They look just like the Muppets. I thought for a second it was the Muppets. It's not, though, right? It's not like branded Muppets.
Not even on the darkest days in Sesame Street, in the back alley, behind the garbage can, have they ever done anything like this.
I know.
If you thought Miss Piggy and Kermit the Frog was a kinky idea, just imagine seeing things like that, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you could look on the trailer is on the internet, and you could see it, and you could stop, and you could go, they didn't really do this, did they? They didn't really do this. They really did it.
You can get away with a lot when it's puppets or animation.
Remember Team America?
Yeah, well,
yes.
But Team America, which was kind of based loosely on the stop-action animation, marionette series, the Thunderbirds, back from the 60s, right?
Yes.
That was, but that wasn't beloved, and a bunch of children, everybody grown up and was looking at that. There are still Muppets that children connect with here.
Yeah, well...
Not anymore.
You just know there's going to be that tiny sliver of the population that thinks it's a kid's movie and takes the 8-year-old or the 6-year-old to see this.
Yeah.
And within 3 minutes, they're going to see things they'll never be able to unsee ever. Call the therapist now. Are we reviewing that today?
No.
Well, we can do it today or tomorrow, whatever.
We can do right. The Mooch is going to call it.
You want to talk about the Happytime Murders now?
Can we just talk about that for really quickly?
What if
here,
the Mooch calls it and hears us talking about it? You might want to jump in, actually.
Yeah, I would put him in the middle of it. Anthony Scaramucci going to join us here in about 2 minutes. But go ahead.
Okay, so the premise of the Happytime Murders is it's sort of like, you remember Who Framed Roger Rabbit, when animated creations and humans coexisted, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And even a movie called Meet the Feebles years ago, done by Peter Jackson before he did Lord of the Rings. So that's the premise of this movie. Humans and puppets occupy the same world in this movie, but the puppets are second-class citizens. Insert your social commentary here. They're considered lesser in this world of Los Angeles. And there was a show on television in this uniform called the Happytime Gang, and it was Elizabeth Banks was the human host, and there were a bunch of puppets. And now, 20 years later, someone is systematically killing off the members of the Happytime Gang television show, hence the Happytime Murders. So Melissa McCarthy is a human detective who pairs up with her former puppet partner, Phil Phillips, to try to solve the cases. That is the premise of the Happytime Murders.
Okay.
And it's rated, it's a hard R.
Hard R.
Mm-hmm.
And it includes unbelievably foul language, full frontal nudity,
puppet nudity, and human
graphic
nudity?
sexuality, all of it involving puppets. There is a Sharon Stone Basic Instinct scene, except for this time it's a puppet.
Oh.
And we find out.
And they probably linger on the shot as opposed to what they did in that movie.
And there's a moment when Phil Phillips, the private detective, has an intimate encounter in his office. And when he when he gets really happy.
It's in the trailer.
Silly string.
That's in the trailer?
It's in the trailer.
Yeah.
And when you see it, you're like, oh my God. I mean, Team America World Police, the uncut version of that is
so raunchy.
Is raunchy, but it is hysterically funny because it's they have no emotion on their face. The marionettes.
Yeah.
And it's still but it is good. It was well done, and it's also in the context of what's going on here. Would you say that's the same?
No, that's the problem with this, because they do kind of look like lovable creatures, and they move their mouths like Muppet-type creatures. Again, it's Jim Henson's son directing it, but they're saying and doing all these horrible things. And, that may be a premise for a 3-minute sketch. That might work comedically someplace, or skit on Saturday Night Live. But even though this movie's only 80 minutes, it feels like 80 hours, because the first 15 or 20 minutes is all about look at all the amazingly disgusting and gross out things we're showing. These animal puppets and human puppets, because there's animal puppets, there's human puppets, there's puppets, all these kind of ridiculously over the top things. And then it's just a really stupid, on top of that, like buddy movie parody, and everybody from Maya Rudolph to Joel McHale to Melissa McCarthy, they're just wasted in this movie. I mean, it's an absolute debacle. And then on top of everything else, in the closing credits, you get the blooper reel. We see all the guys, all the puppeteers who have the green outfits on because they want to blend in with the green screen. Mm-hmm. So you see the puppeteers who have to mimic, and kind of make the puppets do all kinds of gross things.
Yeah.
And it just brings to mind the oldest joke ever about the guy who sweeps up the elephant dung and says, "Why don't you find something else to do?" And he goes, "What? And give up show business?" 0 stars for the Happytime Murders. Right. I have not given a 0-star review to a movie this year until now.
Oh.
We have a clip. Do we know what the clip is?
I have no idea, but let's
hear. Can we play the clip?
How could you find one?
We're playing it.
All right.
I just want to know what you know about the Happytime Murders.
Oh, go forgive you, Happytime. Oh, for 50 cents, I'll your
Well, it's a great price. Makes me wish I had a for you to
Yeah, for 50 cents, Goofer will give you a felty.
A felty? No.
I'll give you what I call the Continental Hot Sock.
I don't want anything hot from you.
I will need a gallon of kombucha and some oatmeal.
Yeah, that's one of the former Happytime gang puppets who's now down on his luck and is a kind of a crack addict there.
Maybe
Kevin,
I think it's kind of funny too.
Yeah,
I'm an idiot though.
You go watch it. Go spend your money.
I think I might.
Go spend your podcast money on that, Kev.
Use your Bitcoin.
Yeah, I'll just fund that. So it's funny if you're an idiot like me, I guess.
It sounds, there might be something there to that.
Okay,
I didn't connect to that at all.
It's deadly. It never should have been released.
Look at the trailer and then tell me if you still want to see it. Because after I saw the trailer, I'm down for. Team America World Police was one of my favorite movies of the 2000s.
Yeah,
by far one of my favorite movies because it's great satire and social commentary. And then and the marionette sex in both versions, the X-rated version and the R-rated version, is comedic. Sure. It's so ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's because it takes it over the top, and I don't know, somehow it worked for me. But I saw the trailer for this, and I'm like,
you're out.
Oh yeah, totally
I'll
out.
go watch the whole trailer.
Yeah, watch the whole trailer because what they do with Silly String, you'll never ever be able to look at Silly String the same way either. I mean, there's frat boys who are looking at Silly String going, too much, too much, too far, sir, too far. All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to take
Trust me.
I'm going to take a time out here.
I'm going to stay away from that one.
I'm going to take a time out, and we're going to check in with Judy. What's coming up at the top of the hour in the news?
Dave Ennett has been talked into doing the Tough Mudder race this weekend by his son. Dave is concerned that he's not ready, and they will discuss it all on the Steve Cochran Show tomorrow at 7 a.m. Do it, Dave.
Yeah, our own Susie Sunshine, our financial
Is she going to be out there?
Has done that in the past. She explained that to us once on the air. And I don't know when people start talking about these kinds of things, like the Tough Mudder is like a 10-kilometer race through a forest, and you have to go through mud bogs and through a tree and a thing and a deal, and you have to take a log with you while you do it. I'd be
10
taking a log, all
miles,
right.
20 obstacles. The Tough Mudder
10
Chicago.
miles?
10 miles, 20 plus obstacles.
Yeah.
I give them great props for doing it. I refuse to do anything that's just a regular day for about a third of the world's population.
Me too. And then you earn a headband at the end.
Yeah. I don't know. Okay.
Listen, that's awesome.
It is. People who can do it.
But Ennett does that thing like when you walk by the office, it's like that scene from Ocean's 12 where the guy is practicing going through the laser. Whatever that actor's name is, it was in all those things where he like dances on his hands.
Yeah.
Right? And he does that thing where you're like, you could stand on one finger. Like you could pose in some way and that's like Ennett. Ennett is like in his office, shirtless.
Oh, wow.
Oh, he's hyper fit.
Wearing I don't know, some sort of a thongish thing, and he's standing on one finger in a pose for 2.5 minutes.
Impressive.
He can do it.
Yeah.
Don't doubt it.
Never seen anybody do what he does.
Very cool.
So, all right. Well, good. I think he can do it.
I think he can too. There is a log involved. You were right. You weren't making that up. Your team carries a log.
Right.
At some point.
Yeah. She explained this whole thing to us on the air.
Go
and I'm
in some muddy area and you have to go over mud bogs and in and out of them.
Yeah.
Under barbed wire.
Yes.
I don't know. Something like that. Wow. But it's pretty intense. So
I don't know. I don't understand it myself, but I'm with Rich on this. If it involves going more than 3 blocks and not in a car, I'm not involved. I'm not going to do it.
Sometimes it's hard just to keep up with your friends via car when they run the marathon.
Right. When people
that's the hard part.
26.2 miles. Wait a minute. I got to go to BP.
Yeah, I don't like driving 26.2 miles, let alone being involved on feet. We lost the mooch somewhere.
Where'd he go?
I don't know, but we're going to find him again here before we're all said and done. In the meantime, Richard Roeper, we're moving up the segment. For those of you, all the affiliates down the line, we're changing the lineup here, and Mr. Roeper is going to complete his reviews now, and then we'll talk to the mooch a little bit later on.
Sure. If he calls in, we can always take a pause and say hi to the mooch.
Exactly. All right, so... All right,
Tell him not to see Happytime Murders, because we already covered that ground. 0 stars.
Yes. And now 0 stars. I want you to go back to this because of your years with probably the greatest cinema critic in the history of the art form, which is Roger Ebert.
Correct.
He gave you some ground rules for a 0 star.
Well, his ground rules were always that if you're going to go to 0 stars, that it should be utterly lacking in any value whatsoever, artistic. Maybe be morally reprehensible, have no redeeming quality. So a lot of times a movie will get a 0.5 star or 1 star because, they tried to do something, everybody had good intentions. Well, everybody always has good intentions, you think. In most cases, they want to make a good movie. To me, if it's just absolutely bottom of the barrel in terms of the screenplay, the direction, the writing... I mean, this is a movie that, on top of everything else, is just really poorly lit and edited, and the sets, all of that just look. And some people say, maybe they wanted to make it look that way to be kind of a 70s era B movie. It's set in the 90s and then flashbacks back to the 70s. I'm not buying that. And then just like the sloppiness that even in a really ridiculous movie like this, in one scene they say this tragic incident happened 20 years ago. And 2 scenes later, a character goes, 12 years ago when this happened. And it's like, that's the kind of stuff where it's like just an overall laziness and sloppiness and lack of regard for the audience. So that's why.
That's your 0 right there.
That's my 0 right there.
I still think just based on the trailer alone, I think that it fits both of your qualifications.
Yeah.
Both you and the late, great Roger Ebert's qualifications. Because this has no redeeming qualities. Although Kevin's going to see it. When he heard the clip that we played, he was like, I love this movie.
Great movie.
He did give it, 2 bro laughs from Kev. Michael Phillips also giving it 0 stars, and I cannot think of the last time, cannot recall a time where the Sun-Times and Tribune's film critics had 0 stars for the same movie in the same week. I'm sure it's happened.
I hated him out on it.
Yeah, go see
I think he's going to see it. Hey, dude, don't tell anybody we're going to go see this. He's going to get his roommate, and they're going to go see it.
Get some silly string, man.
Yeah, get some silly string, and we're going to sneak mini bottles in.
What do they do with the silly string? Can we even say? What
I mean,
they do?
take a guess.
They make silly string into a sexual effluent.
Oh, all right.
The scene goes on for about 3 minutes, I think.
Oh. My problem with it is none of the Muppets are pretty or cute, you know?
Okay, there you go.
Well, we've got very
Puppets.
Cavallari.
Let's just clarify. Puppets. Let's call them puppets.
Zero, right.
Yes.
That's
Muppet-like puppets.
Very Cavallari has been renewed, so you can watch that for
It's
pretty
true.
people.
Yeah. Very excited about that, although Jay said hard pass when asked about it today by KCAV.
All right, where do you want to start here?
Well, let's talk about Papillon. You guys have been mentioning that, and it's probably the other, I would think, actually the biggest movie. I would think it will do better than Happytime Murders. So, Papillon is based on a true story. The movie in 1973 was based on a true story. Papillon is the French word for butterfly, and there was a convict in the early part of the 20th century from France who was sent to a French penal colony near the equator, infamous place, which was actually abolished after World War II because it was such cruel and unusual punishment. But that's where French prisoners used to be sent. He was a safecracker. He was framed for murder. He was sent to the roughest, most unforgiving prison of all time, where the warden will tell you, go ahead and try to escape. You'll either get shot, the jungle will take you down, or if you make it to the water, you'll be eaten by the sharks. And Papillon tried to escape multiple times, the real life guy and in the movie. So it's all about the perseverance of the human spirit. And this guy actually trying to become a better person in prison than he was when he was out in the streets of Paris.
A Crucible-esque story.
Absolutely. So Charlie Hunnam from Sons of Anarchy and the Pacific Rim first movie and some other things you've seen him on, plays Papillon, who was played by Steve McQueen in the 1973 film. And then Rami Malek from Mr. Robot plays Degas, who is a French, kind of an upper crust guy, but he got convicted of counterfeiting. So now he's in this prison as well. He was played by Dustin Hoffman in the original. So those are the two main characters, and they form this unlikely bond. And this movie's all about Papillon just enduring unspeakably cruel punishment, 5 years in solitary confinement, tries to escape again, keeps trying to escape. And you can probably figure out what happens eventually to Papillon. I liked it. It's a tough one to sit through, honestly, because
I think the original was.
It was. If you go back and look at the original, it's a very good film, but first of all, it's very long. This one feels long. It's actually about 2 hours, but there's a really cool, fun, breezy opening passage set in Paris, like Gay Paris in 1931, and he's a dashing safecracker, and he's living the life, and then he gets framed, and then the rest of the 90 minutes of the movie is all about his time on the island, and then eventually ends up in Devil's Island, the notorious Devil's Island, where they just let the criminally insane wander about because there's no way to get off that island unless, of course, you are Papillon.
Oh, Papillon.
Yeah, it is. The original is one of my favorite movies from the 1970s. I saw it when I was a kid. It's a rough thing to see when you're 9 years old. And yet, my dad took me anyway. I don't know.
Go figure.
I mean, there are some very adult and intense scenes in the 1973 one, because that was a moment in American cinema where you'd already had Bonnie and Clyde, and you'd already had the Sam Peckinpah movies and stuff, and so there was violence and some raw, bizarre prison sexuality was going on in it. You're like, oh my god. And then I think my dad was like, I think we're going to go now. But
no, you're absolutely right, though. That was the period, between late 60s and mid 70s, Midnight Express and Papillon. And they were just doing different things. Cinema took on a completely different look.
Very
from
dark.
when Dustin Hoffman even was in The Graduate, 7 or 8 years before that. And Steve McQueen was coming up as a TV matinee idol. And all of a sudden, even The Great Escape, relatively light, even though it's obviously about a World War II, prison camp. Right. In terms of the treatment of the material, Papillon was heavy stuff.
Yes.
So does this one get even more graphic than the original?
Absolutely.
It takes it even farther.
Why do I need that?
Yeah, I mean, I will say, I'm giving it 3 stars, but I could honestly see that a lot of people are saying, this is not the kind of thing I want to see in August. I mean, it's really, really well done. And look, obviously by now, spoiler alert, since Papillon's own story started in around 1920, he eventually escaped, had a full life in Venezuela. He was given a pardon. He was allowed to return back to France. And in the late 60s, wrote his story. Right. The book came out and was a huge bestseller. It only took 4 years to turn around and turn it into a movie. Then there was a second book. Then there were people saying, Papillon's, there was a book about whether or not Papillon really experienced all these things. But he certainly did, have
Devil's
that
Island
experience.
was real.
All of it. He was a real dude who was really, in that prison and really did escape. And there's some great footage with this one. They always like to show you the real life story at the end of the movie. Real photos of the real Papillon with the butterfly tattoo and all that stuff.
Yes.
And Charlie Hunnam has turned out to be a really good actor. You know, he was the one who famously walked away from 50 Shades of Grey at the last minute.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I think that was the best career movie ever made.
And Rami
saw
Malek is just one of those ascendant character actor stars coming out of Hollywood who just, I mean, people will first got to know him, right? In Night at the Museum, he plays, like a King Tut or something.
He's
right?
one of the characters in the museum movies, and then
he kind of steals the scenes he's in there, and he's going to be and talk about high wire. He goes and he's playing the Dustin Hoffman character from Papillon, and then he's going to go. He is. In the Queen movie, or is it the Freddie Mercury movie? I'm not quite sure which way they're looking at this, but he's going to play Freddie Mercury in a biopic about Freddie Mercury.
It's Freddie Mercury's story. I mean, obviously, it'll have all the music and everything, and that's coming out, like I said, about 2 months from now. But that's got a lot of buzz about the performance. He's very good. He's really good. It's really, the story's more Papillon's story. But, the friendship they develop and the ways they figure out how to survive in the prison culture, pretty ingenious stuff. And it looks real. There's obviously a combination of some special effects and all these, huge set pieces. But, man, you feel like you're in that prison.
Wow.
Oh, I don't know.
Intense.
Yeah, Papillon.
Might be. Yeah, I don't know.
I just recently watched Midnight Express for the first time in maybe 20 years again. And, I mean, that is so hard to sit through, too. Because I remember as a kid seeing it and sitting there going, my parents were taking me to these like prison movies. I don't know what they were worried about with me, but they were. It scared me straight. I mean, I wasn't going to go.
That's so true.
I was not going to go run hash in Turkey, or crack safes in Paris. That all worked out for them, I suppose. But
there's a scene in this movie, and this partially happened in the real life to Papillon. One of his escapes, he ends up on this tropical paradise, which of course has the beautiful native women and the beautiful clear waters, and he thinks, this is it, I've made it. And then he looks up and there's a nun, because they're doing missionary, one of those nuns, one of those 1937 nuns, and you just know he's like, she's already blown the whistle on him, it. Well, the nuns back then, there was none of that. Well, we're going to help you.
Well, Devil's Island was in the Caribbean, right? It's off the Venezuelan coast.
Yes, right near the equator.
Yeah.
So even though in the prison itself, you were within, I don't know, miles of some of the most beautiful, lush,
people pay
scenery you could possibly imagine.
$5,000 a night to be there now.
But you were in a hellhole.
Like in Midnight Express, that prison they shot that in was the real prison they shot in is now a Four Seasons hotel in Istanbul.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
do they have a glass thing where you could do that one scene where the girlfriend presses up against it?
Yes,
some of the rooms have that.
Yes, that's extra.
I think they had that scene in the Happytime Murders too.
Yeah,
that's amazing. That's a luxury hotel.
It is a Four Seasons hotel now.
Yes. From a prison.
There's 2 Four Seasons hotels in Istanbul, and that prison is one of them.
Oh, boy.
Well,
that's what they saw in that.
I don't know about the vibes there, man.
Yeah, right.
Just,
the walls could talk.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. All right, we'll come back. More reviews here. We're going to find out if, let's just face it, Glenn Close was a terrible girlfriend or mistress.
Who can forget?
Right?
Oh,
but
now look at that movie from her point of view, Fatal Attraction. Nobody ever looks about it from her point of view.
Like Wicked, you come back and you really see it. The evil witch was not that bad.
Well,
maybe
he wasn't going to leave his wife.
But Bunny, did she have to do that?
And if parents get their city, get a bunny anyway, for a pet, and then go to the country home.
The Wife, though, is her new film. We'll find out if she's a better wife than she was a mistress coming up. But first, Judy, what's coming up at the bottom of the hour?
Republicans warning Trump as he bashes the Attorney General.
Violetta?
Don't miss Chicago Tribune's first ever night market. Enjoy food, fun, and entertainment. It's all going on August 24th through the 26th. Learn more. Visit ctfoodbowl.com/night market.
All right, Richard Roeper is here. We are talking the movies for the weekend. And, all right, Happytime Murders, 0 stars. Papillon, 3 stars. All right, and now Glenn Close is a wife.
The Wife. Yes, that's the movie. It's called The Wife. And we've been joking about Fatal Attraction and Glenn Close. Of course, just think how memorable that is. Since I think that was 1987, I want to say. Yeah. So 30 years ago, and people still, remember I Won't Be Ignored and The Boiling Bunny and all that great performance. Glenn Close actually is is always in the articles now when they talk about most nominations without a win. She's got 6 Oscar nominations, 3 for lead, 3 for supporting over the years, and has never won. She probably will get nominated again for playing the wife. The setup for this is she plays the wife. Jonathan Pryce, great actor who's been on every television show and every movie you could think of.
Yeah, he's great.
He plays a great American author who wins the Nobel Prize. Actually, the year is 1992, I think, where this is set. And most of the movie is set when they go to Stockholm, when they go to get the Nobel Prize, and the pomp and circumstance surrounding that. She's the wife of him, the long-suffering wife. And then we get flashbacks to how they met at Smith College in the late 50s, and eventually she married him in the early 60s, put her own writing career on hold to support him. And now, when he's at the crest of his career, the crowning moment, all the simmering resentments and all the controversies and some really interesting deep secrets about their relationship all come to fruition over a 2 or 3 day period. So it's one of those movies that it's based on a novel, but you could see it as being a 2-person stage play at the Goodman or something like that. But it's beautifully done. The acting is sublime, really heavy, dramatic stuff. But if you want to see Glenn Close at her best, check this out, 3.5 stars for the wife.
Ooh.
And it's interesting because,
we haven't seen her in a while.
No, she'll pick and choose her roles. And the thing about Glenn Close is, even though she's a great actress, she's, not somebody that people, I don't think, feel warmly toward, because she plays so many characters who are, she's so technically precise as an actress, but she doesn't, kind of have that goodwill that other actors have, sort of like Jeremy Irons, if you want to think of an actor like that. We know they're great, but most people don't go like, who's your favorite actress? They don't usually say Glenn Close. Because she often plays such intimidating or difficult or maybe chilly characters. And she's not like that in real life at all. And this character's, got a lot of warm qualities.
But are there multiple layers to this character?
Yes.
Does it twist and turn and surprise us in thriller ways?
Yes, in many, many ways. And Christian Slater is perfectly cast. He's the kind of oily but talented and persistent biographer who wants to do the life story of this author and has uncovered some really deep, deep secrets about them.
Goobly.
How that all unfurls is pretty interesting as well.
Intriguing.
The wife, Glenn Close.
All right.
I'm going to see that one.
I don't know. Can I ask you this question now?
Sure.
Can I just go back to?
You still worried about the Happytime murders?
No. I want to go back to Fatal Attraction.
Yeah,
because every guy, that I know of, at least, I don't know. Maybe I just have a select group of people, but guys get together, they talk about things. Women get together, they talk about things, sure. And basically, every guy has had an experience where they feel like, at least at one point, even with the person they're still with, maybe, where they're like, "Oh my God, it was like a Fatal Attraction moment," right? Like where you that some lose their minds. But I wonder if women have ever been in a situation. I want to ask all the women on the show: have you ever been in a situation where you stopped and you thought, "I'm having a Fatal Attraction moment here"? Like I could boil the rabbit. I could do something bad. I will not be ignored. Have you ever?
No. I don't think so. But I think it works both ways too. You can have a guy in your life who just does some freaky things and surprises you, and is not who you think they are either.
Well, sure. Yeah, I'm sure we could cop to that too. But I just wonder if because the thing is that everybody, I'm sure every guy has had that moment where we weren't what we thought,
sure.
you thought we were going to be. And then every woman has had that moment. But can you identify that moment that you've had, you've had that, where you've been?
A lot of people are clocking back to that right now. And when you go back and look at that movie, at first, she's this very attractive, impressive, she works for a publishing house. He's a lawyer for a publishing firm. That's Michael Douglas's character. Ann Archer plays his long-suffering wife. Speaking about, no one ever tells a story of her, too.
No, she's always so perfect.
She's beautiful and perfect and a wonderful mom. Right. And absolutely stunning and lovely in this movie. And then they go to look at a country home, she and the daughter, and he meets up with the Glenn Close character, and it rains, and all of a sudden that leads to crazy sex. And one thing you'll notice in this movie, which is filmed in 1987, is that every single person in the movie smokes at every single moment. In the restaurants, before sex, after sex, during sex.
Ow.
And there's also, as most movies from that time period will do, there's some jarring moments because the lawyer that Michael Douglas plays and his best friend, who's also an attorney, they're representing this publishing firm, and there's a book party for a Japanese author. And I'll just say that it's some of the most racist humor that takes place in the middle of this movie that just everyone just kind of shrugs up because that's how things were in 1987.
It's really true. It's really, really, really true.
Yeah, and we've all been there.
Yeah.
Been a little crazy.
Yeah. You ever wake up the next day and say to yourself, "Oh my God, it was like a Glenn Close moment," or like the guy or the girl? I
can't see. You're so cool, Violette. I feel like you wouldn't have a Glenn Close moment. You just walk away.
God.
No, I think she'd walk away.
Oh no,
I had a thing once.
Oh jeez.
Oh, I could tell.
It was
I
was crazy, and I made it last a long time. My crazy, and that was
on
the
purpose,
only.
just to torture him.
I don't know who I was torturing, me or him.
That's very self-aware. That's a shocker right there. I saw there was a moment of self-awareness. Okay, I like that.
No, yeah, it was. I'll tell you the whole story another time.
Oh gosh. Well, Michael Douglas didn't learn from it because 6 years later he was starring in Basic Instinct. So, he's supposed to be investigating the murder. Next thing you know, he's in bed with Sharon Stone.
Don't you get the sense that Michael Douglas had to live that exact life in
There's
his
a
real
lot
life?
going on in Michael Douglas's life too that made him attracted to certain characters like this.
Yeah, that's interesting. But now but it worked out for him.
Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Yeah, and that's one of the longest lasting marriages in Hollywood.
And they've certainly had their ups and downs and trials and tribulations, things they've dealt with, but they've survived it all.
Exactly. All right.
Yep, and Woody and Soon Yi, they're tied for the longest relationships now in Hollywood.
Oh my God.
I don't know what to make of that.
Nobody does. All right.
So there you go. Check that out.
All right. Let's. What we're going to do? We're going to check out Judy Pilak's news coming your way in 2 little minutes.